WRCR.com.
The following program is furnished by its producer, host, and sponsors.
Good morning, WRCR listeners. This is Mark Brownstein with Emerald Medicare. It's nice to be here on this ever beautiful weekend. I have, as many of you know, I handle Medicare. My staff handles Medicare. Our number is 845-358-1220, but I want the majority of the show to be all about these two wonderful people that I have with me at the radio station, Craig Smith and Elise Stone. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Mark. We're glad to be here.
These folks I've gotten to know over the last number of years, actually since 2018. I remember seeing you at a chamber meeting talking about the vision that you had for these festivals here in Nyack and Rockland County. And so you've done a tremendous job, and we're here today to talk about these festivals and what you've accomplished. But just before we actually get into that, Craig, here you are. You've been doing theater in New York City, but you're from a small little town in Minnesota. How is that coming to New York City?
Well, it was. I came to New York when I was in college. We had a couple trips here, and I loved New York City and knew that this is a destination that I wanted to be in. Understand that I lived in a small town. Beltrami, Minnesota, was 151 people, and that was right between two other towns. There was Fertile, Minnesota on the east, and Climax, Minnesota on the west. So Beltrami was right in the middle between Fertile and Climax, and I was destined to come to New York City and pursue my career in the theater.
And you went from there to L.A. to New York?
No. I was in college at the time, and then I had a ride going to New York City. I had taken my degree in theater, and I decided I would try it. And somebody said that they had room in their car, and so I went out to New York with them, and I had $70 in my pocket and a place to stay, and that was my introduction to the wilds of New York City.
Well, what a career, and we'll talk about it. And Elise, you were a New York City girl.
Yeah, New York City girl, born in Manhattan General Hospital. Yep, I'm a native New Yorker, one of the few left.
Well, we're in Nyack now, and so, folks, these two folks have built not just now here in Rockland County and in Nyack, but in New York City. So which one of you would like to sort of talk a little bit about sort of where Phoenix Festival sort of started in New York and sort of what your vision has become about bringing it to Nyack?
Yeah, we still produce for Phoenix Theater Ensemble. We produce in New York. We've been in New York for 19 years, and in 2018, Elise and I, we are married, and Elise is the artistic director, and I'm the managing director. She gives me orders, and then I follow them. I've understood that I need to do that. And then we moved to Nyack in 2018. We had, and we still continue to produce in New York City. And we came to Nyack, and I was at a point in my career when I was thinking about possibly retiring. But there was something about Nyack that was really interesting, and we didn't have a car, and so when we moved to Nyack, we didn't have a car, and I spent the first 2 weeks in Nyack looking for the subway entrance, and then I discovered that there's no subway in Nyack, so then I actually had to join the car culture, and we got a car. And then we started thinking about, are we going to retire? Are we going to continue with our work? We work continuously, and we're storytellers, and we thought there's vibrations. There's something special about the village of Nyack. It's very arts oriented, and we thought maybe we could do a festival here, and that's how we started it. In 2018, we thought the idea of doing it in 2019, and then COVID happened, and it was postponed for a couple of years, and then finally we had the inaugural festival last year in 2022. It was a huge undertaking, but it was also very successful and enormously rewarding at the same time. Did I miss anything here?
I think you got it all.
Oh, okay.
I think you got it all.
So, this is the second year, and I could tell you I went to every one of the shows last year. So not only am I enthusiastic about it, but I am an ambassador as part of the Phoenix Festival, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of the second year and the effort you have to sort of bring people out of their shell, out of the community, and that's really what I think we should also talk about is, festivals in New York City, events in New York City are much more expensive than they are here, and here you have New York City level performers. So
we do, and just right in our own backyard. And this year we've expanded the festival, so it's going to be bigger, more varied, more venues, more variety of events happening. The ultimate dream, of course, is that we create an annual event that people come from all over to take part in. We kind of modeled that idea in places like Williamstown and the Edinburgh Festival in Scotland and Ashland, Oregon Festival as a destination that, why would people not want to come here? It's absolutely beautiful. It seems like a perfect destination to enjoy all of the theater and dance and live performance that you can in such a fantastic village and setting.
It's a beautiful village. And so just before we get into the specifics of the shows that are coming, just a little bit about your performance careers. So, Elise, you've had quite a wonderful career, and you've done a tremendous number of performances. So, talk a little bit about that.
I have been blessed. I always say I was born this way. I always knew that I was a performer, an actor. I think I actually started as a dancer when I was very young, but really telling stories and language and communicating that way is really where my passion lies. And I have been doing that for decades. So I'll admit how many exactly. I've done well over 200 different productions in I don't know how many performances in New York City. And I just, I do feel incredibly blessed to have been able to spend my life doing what I feel so passionate about.
And they've been classical in nature, so some of the plays that you've actually participated in?
Yeah, I've done a lot of classical theater. So I've done everything from the Greeks like Medea and Oedipus to things like Mary Stuart, Schiller, George Bernard Shaw. I'm going to forget so many titles.
It's a lot of titles.
I've done Brecht.
Yeah,
I've really run the gamut of classical theater, which is, some people will say that is a really odd aspiration. When I was a young actor, I said I really want to be an actress in a classical repertory company. And of course, the last thing you think about if you're when you think about actors, you go, well, really, you know, the roles for women are sort of like there are so many less roles for women in classical theater. There are great roles for women, but there are a lot less roles for women in classical theater, and a lot of them you end up being thrown on your knees. And I've often said, you know, you fall into categories. You're usually a queen, a
Madonna.
a mother,
or a whore.
Or a whore. And that was actually at one time that was going to be the title of my memoirs. Was something like "You Filthy Whore, You."
Okay, so Craig, on that note, what kind of shows? And I know you met each other as you created the New York City ensemble component.
Yeah, I've spent all my life in resident companies and in ensemble situations, and that's also what Phoenix is. And I met Elise, you know, in the night, and we were doing auditions, and I was sitting in on the audition, and I turned around and they announced that Elise Stone was coming in to audition for us. And I turned around and I saw the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my life, and she walked in. And I had a signal to the artistic director, is like if I was really, if we felt we were interested in seeing this actor, if it was talented, I would hold up 2 fingers, you know, like this, so we would see a second piece. And as soon as she had walked in, she hadn't even hit the stage, I put up 2 fingers. I said, I want to see this. And then we got married at the theater in 1989, and it was in a dark night at they call dark night is in the theaters, like when there's no performance. So we had done Brecht's A Man's a Man in Sunday, and then Monday on December 18th, 1989, we had a dark. There was no performances. They said, okay, well, this is when we're going to get married. So we had the rabbi come in, and we did it like a whole show. We had a stage manager, we had somebody running sound. I focused the lights, and we had a full house. It was mentioned in the New York Times that we were going to get married on that night. So it was magical. So that our whole life has been about that, about theater, about telling stories, and the movement into the Phoenix Festival in Nyack is just a continuation of our careers.
So what you're looking to accomplish and will accomplish and will continue to grow is, as you put it, highly ambitious. What you're trying to put together and trying to build within the community. And so we talked earlier about the world of festivals and sort of what's changed, since COVID, and people trying to find their way back out again. And this is just such an opportunity for people to get back out and experience live performances and be around other people and get the value of New York City quality talent.
Yeah, it is. People have underestimated the lasting impact of COVID and the pandemic on arts organizations, not just theater organizations, but all arts organizations. There is a school of thought out there that it's going to take 14 or 15 years for these organizations to truly recover from the pandemic. That seems like a lot of time, but the truth of the matter is that we really suffered during that time. There were funding cuts. There were people. The audience stopped coming, and then we had artists who were out of work, and these are people who work on the gig economy. They didn't have anything to do, so they left the business. They left the business, and they went and followed another career, so we lost artists. And then the big thing is that people got out of the habit of leaving their home and going to a performance, whether it was a symphony, a dance piece, or a theater piece, and we still have that. And there are a host in happening just this year of numbers of established performance arts organizations that are either suspending, closing the doors finally on that, or doing major cutbacks. And this is, regional theaters, big theaters, the Public Theater, the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles, Looking Glass in Chicago. The Public Theater has disbanded the Under Radar Festival, all that kind of stuff. And this has to do, this is the ramifications of COVID, is people have stopped going to the theater. So our answer for that is we're doing this festival, we want to make going out to see something, there's an event. You're not just going and you're seeing a play, you're going to take part in something. And some of the shows that we're doing are participatory. Audiences should not get too nervous about that, because some people hate that kind of thing, but it's really fun. You can sit back and just watch other people participate if you want.
So talk a little bit about the shows that are coming up, and Elise as well. You're into the performances, are you not?
I am, yeah. I will. I'm performing in Crime and Punishment and Drinks with Dead Poets. I'm really excited about both of these pieces, and I think they will. I think they will not disappoint, I have to say. And I will never speak to my own performance, but I have to say that my colleagues are truly phenomenal. And I am always honored to be in a room with them.
And many of these performers have worked with you in New York City as well, and you bring them up there, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, we
tickets
are.
have a cost because everybody has to get paid to do this kind of work.
Everyone has to get paid.
Right.
Yeah,
But
everyone
you're in
has
these
to get
performances,
paid.
and I can't wait to see you again.
Oh, thank you so much, Mark.
So, what are some of the performances that are coming, and maybe some of the venues? Either way.
Yeah, you would have thought that we would have learned something from last year, which was our first inaugural festival, and it was a challenge, and it was exciting. We had lots of successes, and we felt it was big enough. But this year, it's even larger. We have over 20 performances. It's close to 25 different performances of 12 different productions, and they're taking place in 9 different venues in Nyack. So in again, reflecting kind of our mission of classical plays or plays that are based on classical texts, and now also new plays, but new plays that are really language rich. So we're doing a 90-minute version of Crime and Punishment. So if you haven't gotten around to reading the Dostoevsky novel, which is about 300 pages, you can come and see the play for 90 minutes, and it covers everything. It is riveting. The Dostoevsky play is a murder mystery, and it's beautiful, beautiful content. And then we have Pan and the Lost Boys, which is done by Emotions Physical Theater. The choreographer of that is Sean Rawls. He actually lives in Suffern, but this is a New York City dance company. Sean works at Alvin Ailey, and it's Pan and the Lost Boys. So it's about a young black boy who doesn't want to grow up. And I think we all kind of know maybe why a young black boy doesn't want to grow up. And this talks about the tropes and stereotypes of black masculinity. And it's a dance piece, but it incorporates theater and dance, hip hop. It's going to be a very, very cool performance. That's going to be at the Nyack Center. We have Drinks with Dead Poets, which is by one of our resident playwrights. He's a Brit. He wrote a novel called Drinks and Dead Poets in 2017. Very, very successful. And Elise called him up and said, I want you to make this into a play, into a play of 90 minutes, but only 3 characters, and it's site specific. It takes place in a bar. So we talked to the people at Hudson House, and we said, "You have this upstairs bar. Can we do this play here?" And they said, "Yes, yes, you can." So this is all taking place in a bar. It takes place at a pub. Very, very exciting. So I think that'll be cool.
A few more.
Okay, we have a brand new adaptation of Wind in the Willows by Leo Lyon. That's going to be done at Marydale under the tent. Totally charming. Reflections of from the shallow end of the dating pool, which will be done at a small little theater at the RCC Culinary Institute in Nyack. A lot of people don't know that there's a small little theater, a little proscenium theater down there. It's very cute, and this is going to be a lovely. Then Jeffrey Owens is coming in to do Now I Am Alone. We're going to be doing a performance of Honduras. Arts Rock is going to be doing something. We have an augmented reality walking tour of Nyack, so people can come and they can interact with images as they hear a recorded audio guide in the walking tour, and the images are on their cell phone. Very exciting.
We have Scandalton, which is an improvised Regency drama at Maureen's Jazz Cellar, which is going to be huge fun.
Cash bar.
Cash bar. Always fun.
So part of this is about the community, and part of this is bringing the economy. And so just talk for a few moments about sort of part of that being a really important part of how this has sort of evolved for you. And it's about bringing theater, but it's also about integrating the community and the restaurants and the hotels into this, so that people are being bussed up from New York City. You're looking for group. Let people know how they can get tickets.
Yeah.
So a little bit more information.
Yeah, so it's very important to us. A core ethos of our company, and for me, is that wherever we work, if we're in New York City, that the neighborhoods that we work in, that we are a good member of the community, and that we bring something in addition to our storytelling that is beneficial to the community. And in Nyack, especially coming out of the pandemic, it was so important to us to uphold the community and the local merchants and restaurateurs and hotels by bringing an influx of economic wealth into the community from outside, because as we all know, every community has really needed that, that extra bolstering up. So in addition to upholding the community by bringing, what we hope will be joyful experience of art and community and being together, because live arts is different from anything else. That being in community with one another reminds us that we're not alone in the world, and reminds us that very often we have a lot more in common than what we think are our differences, and fosters a much kinder community sensibility, but also that we uphold everybody in the community. So we actually provide a great deal of work. We are bringing people in to spend money, but we are also hiring locally. So we've done job creation, and we hire local companies to be part of the infrastructure. Our sound company, Safe and Sound.
Yeah, we invest $150,000 to $200,000 directly into the community of Nyack and Rockland with our contractors and freelancers and how we do that. And then we bring in people from the outside. Last year, 60% of the people came from outside of Rockland. 23% came from New York City, 8% from New Jersey, only 5% from Westchester, which was a major disappointment for Why can't Westchester people cross the bridge? I didn't figure that out. We used to take the 87, when we would drive, we would rent a car, and we would come down the Major Deegan on 87. There was a sign saying Terrytown was the last exit before the bridge. And the family was there. We said, oh my God, where's this bridge? Is this a bridge to nowhere like they have in Alaska? Whatever we do, don't go across the bridge. So we would get off at Terrytown. And finally, we got over to Nyack.
And we fell in love.
Yeah, that's right.
We basically fell in love.
So how do people get tickets?
They can go to our website, which is liveartsinnyack.com. liveartsinnyack.com. They can also call our box office, which is 833-681-4800. And since Mark is an ambassador, if you are purchasing a ticket and you use the code MARK, when you ordering your tickets, you're going to get $15 off of your ticket. So go ahead and do that. Fill out the thing, and then when you're checking out, they say, do you have a promotional code? Yeah, use the word MARK, MARK, and you will get $15 off your tickets. And that's a little bit of a thank you to WRCR. We really appreciate this.
So one of the things about what people have gotten into the habit of is, it's time to get away from Netflix. It's time to get out. It's time to feel excited about all the theater that's coming. And I love live performances. Growing up in Brooklyn, going to New York City was the thrill of leaving Brooklyn. And so now with this kind of talent in Rockland County and in Nyack, it is really inspirational to me. And I just smile from ear to ear. Seeing the kind of talent that you've been able to bring, and so you have a great you're running a nice growth of a good model, and it takes time, right? And it takes time, it takes commitment, and in terms of commitment, you folks have the commitment. You've put a lot of effort in, and both of you have different skill sets, and you both really are working hard to do this, and so. What is it that you'd like to say to the people here on the air as we begin to wrap up, each of you individually, about what you've brought and what you'd like to see people get out of the productions and get out of your participation in theater in Rockland County?
Yeah, we want people to come, and we want people to know that this is first-class professional productions that we provide. We had critics come up from New York City, and they praised the world-class performances from last year. One of them said, "You won't regret a trip to this magical town." Broadway Radio said that Phoenix Theater Ensemble is doing something wonderful in Nyack, which was also a boon to us. And then we also got an I Love New York market grant last year, which was very competitive, and that really gave us a tremendous boost that we needed. This is our second year. We're here for the long run. We see this as an annual festival in Nyack that will continue to grow each year.
Mm-hmm. And we love this community, and obviously we love what we do. I believe in the power of live performing events like this to bring communities and people together and to remind us all of our core of humanity and what we share together. But this is also, it is a community event. So the love that we're pouring into this, it only works with reciprocity. We also need the love to come back. We need people to come. Nobody does something like this to, do it alone in a vacuum. I don't want to perform alone in my room and tell a story to nobody. I want to share a story. And every single performance, because it's live performance, will be different on every single performance day or night because of who you are when you are in the room. It changes what we do and who we are. These moments are ephemeral. They only live for now. And so, but you, the audience, you also are a participant in this, and you make the magic happen. So,
well, that's from a deep part of your soul, Elise. I know that. And, you had mentioned earlier that some of these shows only run 1 week. So it's not about wait and see what the, Facebook reviews are. It's come out and see it because the performances are a week long,
Yep.
and then a new show comes to bear.
Yeah.
And so it's important for people to, I believe, and some of the venues are actually small.
They are.
And so they will sell out, and people will talk about it and wish they were there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already have some sold-out houses that we're very excited about. So that's absolutely true. I mean, some of these venues can only seat about 40 people. So, we need to do that.
Yeah, people really should think about the festival as a whole, kind of like going to Edinburgh. When people travel to Edinburgh, I don't know how many people I have there right now who are either performing or who are partaking of watching the shows. But you go and you buy tickets for everything that you can get in to see, and that's what you do. During that period of time, you're just going to Edinburgh for the festival. And I hope one day, in the near future, that's what happens with the Phoenix Festival, is that people come and they go, I'm going to book these shows, and I'm seeing these at these times on these days, and view it in the same way.
And I've booked a number of them already. So again, how do they contact, and the code, but how do they contact to get tickets?
Yeah, the website is liveartsinnyac.com. All one word, liveartsinnyac.com. The box office is 833-681-4800, and say the magical word Mark, and you get $15 off.
Well, thank you for that. And again, I'm inspired by what's coming. Again, the fall is just around the corner. We're almost in September. It's already feeling like just a beautiful part of the year, and it is a great time of the year to be in this Rockland area. And certainly, we all look forward to the performances that you've both worked so hard to put together in this area. So I want to thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I want to just sort of inspire you to keep doing what you're doing for live performances.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.